welcome back to another episode of So She Said. I'm Asha.
I'm Tam.
And I know we've been gone for a minute. I do apologize. Miss Tam here was getting married, so she's now a Mrs. Yay! Yeah. He put a ring on it. And we have Mr. Teacher Bay here from the Shade Room.
Hey. World renowned. I would like to know, are you getting any perks out here in LA?
Man, my students don't even know.
Paparazzi been hounding you?
Nah, man, my kids don't even recognize.
Do you want to date one of the Kardashians or dinners?
No.
A lot more followers on Instagram?
Yeah, my followers jumped.
Okay.
They've jumped. They've been steady climbing.
All right.
I guess that's a perk, but Fashion Nova Men's, if you want to start shooting me the codes.
Look it.
the discount codes.
Boohoo Men's.
Boohoo Men's. What's up? Joey, what's up, man? Speaking of, it's funny.
Teacher Bay?
No, Boohoo Men's. So the last episode of CIBV was Joey Ryan LaCour. He does the talent for all of Pretty Little Things and Boohoo.
Okay.
So it's just funny that you mentioned it because last week's episode was Joey did his thing. So shout out Joey. Yeah, man, Joe, hook a brother up, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Teacher Bay from the Shade Room. You feel me? Let me get that, man. You know what I mean? I figure like with that, you can, I can get some perks like Fashion Nova come through, holla at me with, you know what I mean? Let me get some code. Can I get my IG thought game up?
So, I'm saying these girls are getting apartments.
You feel me? Like,
and everything. That's sexy.
I'm not gonna sell no teas because it's detrimental to your health. But man, I can get some fashion stuff, man. Like
I appreciate your morality.
I listen. All I want is a couple of outfits. I put it on for the gram. Use my code Teacher Bay.
Profit off of it.
Would you do any type of skincare? You have nice skin. You could do a mask or something.
I'd be lying doing that. I mean, I can sell it to y'all, but I'm just going to...
Kiehl's model.
I can do that. I'm just going to let y'all know now I'm lying because mine is genetics and water. I don't...
Why are all men like that? That shit pisses me off. They don't have to do shit. They're like, all I use is Dove soap on my face.
I really do. I mean, I got to exfoliate everything.
And I will be like outraged when they're about to put the lotion for their body on their face. Like, stop.
They got naturally long eyelashes. Like, they just be out here thriving. Man, like, women really have to, like...
Are y'all hearing y'all?
We're buying all this product.
I do have I got the scrub hand.
Oh, you got gloves.
The glove joint. I got the exfoliating. I might use that every... once a week or something.
Oh my god! Oh, I thought you were gonna say every once in a blue moon.
I lose it once in a week.
Clearly, I mean,
you are really salty about this.
Exfoliating gloves. That's hilarious.
I got a little joint, make the skin feel soft. But other than that, man, a lot of water and I sleep a lot. Well, I get all my sleep.
Okay,
so that's where the skin care comes in at. But we can still do Kiehl's or what else is it? I don't even know the products.
Kiehl's, any type of masks.
Any black people own mask?
Shea Moisture.
Put you on. Shea Moisture. Put me on.
They're kind of weird. They did their last hair commercial with white women in it
because they're trying to diversify. They already got us.
They're black owned. You can diversify.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. White people buy everything that we love too.
Yeah, they need some shea butter. I see ashy white people out.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? They love to take the stuff we do. And act like they did it first.
Speaking of the things that they take that we do and act like they did it first, we're going to hop on the playlist. Black music.
We're going to rock and roll? No. Oh, you said stuff they stole.
They stole all types of music.
Yeah.
You see what's going on now with the country? They trying to kick Lil Nas out.
Oh, he back though, baby.
He's back. He came back. Lit. Back. So go ahead and stream that video.
He's back. Actually, I watched it yesterday. It was dope.
Okay, and then this month, I don't know what happened, but all the girls came out with their albums back to back to back. And we've got on the playlist first up Miss Megan Thee Stallion. She came out with her debut album Fever.
Hot girl shit.
Pam Grier themed cover. She looks amazing. And the song, I'm going to just do it because I already see girls making videos and stuff is going viral. Simon Says it's the people's choice. Yes. Hands on the knees, hands on the hips. Yes. You ladies are turning it out, so congrats.
I appreciate you, Megan.
Megan
Tina Snow. I appreciate you.
Tina Snow.
You are loved.
You are loved. Then we got We Have to Keep It LA, and even though this is not going to fit with the rest of the playlist, we only have one girl rapper out here, and it's kind of Janae. When she gets in her sad bag and she drops the freestyle, and I think she ripped Big Sean apart. If this was a rap beef,
I didn't know she rapped.
She would have fucked him up.
For real.
Okay, I gotta check that out.
She'll freestyle for you.
She don't know what I'm capable of. Might fuck around and go crazy on cuz. You better watch her back.
I she just posted a picture of them.
Yeah,
on
they made
Instagram.
up. If I got ripped like that, I might call her too. Like, hey, girl, I see you getting a little.
Keep my secrets on the low.
Getting a little vulnerable.
See, that's too many. You just gotta. Hey, why you wildin'?
That's 2 freestyles.
That's all you gotta say is, man, you tripping. What's up?
We're not gonna go for number 3.
No, we don't go.
Meet me at the beach.
Wait, what's it called?
It's called Triggered.
Okay.
It's a freestyle, so go check it out.
Interesting.
And then we have Miss Rico Nasty. She dropped Anger Management with her and Kenny Beats on all the tracks, and you gotta listen to Cheat Code. Super good song. Then we have Queen Key. She dropped something. I think she's from Chicago.
I don't know.
She's cool. She's trying to bubble up on the scene, and she has RBA, Rich Bitch Attitude. Listen to that song. We got Light Skin Keisha with Hey Light Skin.
Oh,
That's
I love
really her
Light Skin
name.
Keisha.
Yes.
I saw this on my timeline, but I just thought they were like
It was a
messing
joke.
around, like light skinned Keisha.
Yeah,
I thought it
like-
was one of those. I didn't know her name was light skinned Keisha.
Yeah.
That's her rap.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
We got I'm Good with Cuban Doll, and she's using the I'll Be Good. She's using that beat, and it's
Okay.
crazy. Her sample on that whole project, A+ to
I
Cuban
think she's
Doll.
so slept on.
Yes. And lastly, because I'm from LA and it's almost summertime and I know what you ladies are going to be on in the streets, let's not lie about it. We got Baller Alert with Cash Doll and Tokyo Jets, because I know all you ladies are going to be out here in the summer looking for a baller. There you go.
You forgot Ari Lennox.
Ari Lennox, no, she's going to be on my thing to stream. Shea Butter Baby.
Oh man, I love that album.
Yeah, her video is so beautiful. It's very Vogue. It's very high
Love that
art.
album. Oh my.
I appreciate it from a young girl.
Meg Thee Stallion, listen, let me give you a shout out, because my Instagram stories and feeds will be nothing but ladies pre-gaming,
Yeah.
twerking their ass off, and I just want to tell you right now, I'm lacking every single one of them. And I appreciate you for giving them the pre-game, the pre-function, you know what I'm saying, playlist. So while they're getting ready, you know it's going to be videos and it's going to be all ass shaking, and I cannot wait.
Yes, makeup brushes in the back, dirty
Yes.
bedrooms,
Blessings.
twerking.
Blessings. I appreciate you. Thank you, Megan. You did us a good service.
So accurate, Tim. So accurate.
Yeah, you already said you saw it. I know it's
To a
coming.
hotel room in
I
Vegas.
can't wait. Memorial weekend is coming up. It's going to be all Meg Thee Stallion and ass
Hands
shaking.
on your knees.
There's going to be some awkward ass shaking because
Everybody ain't got it.
you know
Everybody
they,
ain't able.
you know they,
They. Okay. I appreciate that.
You know they aren't as rhythmically
Inclined.
inclined. But you know what? I appreciate the effort, man. So I'm gonna watch it too.
I can't. All right.
Right?
Bringing it over into TV land. My latest binge of the moment is called Pose. And
Okay.
it's on Netflix. It's so good. It's about so we had the Met Gala just happen.
Yes, camp.
And I was like, what the fuck is camp? Ain't nobody in no Fire Ranger uniforms or nothing. Like, I had no idea what camp was. And then, I figured it out. I obviously Googled it and stuff because I'm like, I'm not following the theme here. And then I started talking to some of my gay friends. They're like, oh yeah, it's kind of the drag scene, and they had voguing back in the day, and in the 80s, they had all these balls that were going down. So that's what Pose is about. So my friend was like, okay, if you want to figure out more about this campy lifestyle, then watch this. And I've blown through all the episodes within the past 3 days or so it's that good of a show. It goes into transgender life, just gay love in general, how things were back in the 1980s, with the whole AIDS epidemic. Let me tell you, that's the best form of birth control, and just staying with your legs crossed, because I'm not fucking anybody now. On God, I'm
People
not.
were dropping.
I swear to God, I was yeah, I'm good.
Man.
Well, fellas, if you thought you had a shot,
Oh, Lord.
Better come correct.
you better get at the people that pose.
I was kind of disappointed at the Met Gala, though, that there wasn't a lot of black 70s Earth, Wind, and Fire inspired outfits, because it can be masculine. It doesn't have to be
Well, I thought the men outdid the women.
They
to be
did.
honest, I thought they were way more creative, and I thought they were really in the spirit of camp. Yeah, but
Pose. Okay, one more thing to stream. Nipsey Hussle featuring DJ Khaled and John Legend hired.
Oh,
all of the proceeds are supposed to go to Imani and Cross. Those are his 2 kids. So everybody should be streaming this video on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, anywhere music is streamed. Request it on the radio. This is LA. If you really are about that shit.
And it's been approved by the family. I know that was a huge thing.
Yeah.
He got it approved by the family, so it's all good.
I see his sister and Lauren are retweeting it and stuff. And
you don't have to get on Khaled's ass. He did ask the family. They did give him permission. So
and the video is so beautiful. So what better way to pay tribute?
Oh my God. Isn't that the chick that's in the show Pose?
India Moore?
Yes.
She's on the cover of Elle.
Trans.
I brought this because she looks absolutely beautiful. It's insane.
Yeah, you would never know she's like
I
transgender.
Didn't know.
And she transitioned from man to woman? Or?
Yeah. Like, and I saw the show and I was like, she's really fucking pretty.
You wake up flawless. Shout out to you, girl.
I heard Pose was really good.
It's so good.
I only think about it though when people bring it up, and people just don't bring it up to me like that. And then I'm like, I knew I was forgetting something. I'll check it out one day.
And then just like the fashion of it all too, and like how everybody's like walking in the show and strutting their stuff. Man, they got the 70s music playing in the background, and you're just like, you know, just all in the spirit.
I have to say though that black people kind of dominate that, like all the.
Well, that's where it started.
Started the culture.
It started within that scene.
I really what
it's
we did.
all
we start everything.
Like if any of you guys seen Holiday Heart back in the day on BET, that's all us.
But it was interesting too in the show because they went into like racism and like how it's one thing to be like just black and discriminated against, but if you're black and gay and trans, you're like bottom of the barrel. Like, you know, like it was kind of sad to see that, and then just seeing like how many people were dying from like AIDS or whatever back then, because like no one,
and all that.
there wasn't as much like knowledge about it, and they did like very little research, and I don't think many people cared because they're like, okay, like, well, this is like something from God that like he sent to like rid the world of gay people, and
they thought it was a gay. AIDS is a gay.
Well, that's to me. That's the propaganda
disease.
They put on it.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what they would say. AIDS is a gay person disease. If you're not gay, you don't get AIDS.
Right. And then I don't want to like spoiler alert, but like someone in the show, like, you know, he was married and like was having an affair with like a transgender woman, and then the wife was like, oh my God, like I have to get checked now. You know what I mean? Like, so it's
good. Watch it.
It's mind blowing. Just get into it.
But do you think part of that, even talking about that issue, and like I'm aware that suicide and things like that are very high in that community, and I'm sure especially more for black people because we don't talk about things like that.
Right.
So if you're even gay growing up, you probably hide it until you move out at minimum. Yeah. And then you're like already been a boy this whole time, so then that's working on you and you're trying to figure it out. I couldn't imagine if you want to be a woman.
And I think, I think
think
that's what like the whole, I didn't know like the mother thing was like where like a trans woman would like take in like these like like the, I guess, people that have been rejected by their families to like take care of them and like give them what they need like a parent would. I think that's kind of,
that's how you get the houses. So like house of whatever name, house of that
Fabulosity,
then you have the mothers of the homes and all that.
I didn't know any of this.
I only know this because growing up, my barbers have always been women up until I left. You know, I left for college, and Miss Debbie, she was my barber for years. Her best friend name was what was his name? Patrick was his name. And gay man, and he did the whole, not trans thing, but he did the whole dress up, what do you call that?
Drag. Yeah.
Drag. He did that whole thing, and he would be in a barbershop, you know, talking about the house of, what was he the house of? So long I can't think of, but he would talk about it. I'd be sitting there like, I don't get none of this, man. This shit is not weird, but it's just
foreign.
Yeah, I just didn't know it. I was like, okay, dude. So it's a house full of y'all, and y'all do, hey, what do y'all do? And he's like, no, we just be in the house, and we have people around us that are in our community, so we feel safe and we don't feel ostracized. And I was like, oh, okay, well, Miss Debbie, I'll put a part in my head, please, thank you.
Have you talked to anybody that like came out or something like that on CIBB? Can I be
Not
vulnerable?
came out on it, no, but the past 2 episodes have been black men talking about their growing up gay, coming out gay, and just, that was the past 2 episodes. Was it the past 2? Well, the past like 2 out of 3 or whatever was 2 men talking about their coming out stories. One, Mike Brown, talked about him knowing he was gay in like 3rd grade, I believe, and he never came out until 2012.
Oh, wow.
And for him, he's apparent. Like when you look at him, he's like a regular. He looks like a regular. He looks like a heterosexual man. You wouldn't know. College basketball player and that kind of thing. And so he talked about coming out to his friend first, and how that was, and then he talked about coming out to his family, and then he talked about his upbringing, and then he said when he came out, surprisingly enough, it wasn't like a big deal. You know, obviously, I'm pretty sure his folks felt some kind of way about it, especially them being religious like that. But he said, surprisingly enough, it wasn't like a huge blow up. Nobody like tripped out on him or nothing like that. And it's obviously now that he's come out, he's finally able to be himself. It's all good with the fam. With Joey, this was just last week's. Joey's was about. I mean, he always knew he was gay. You know what I mean? And he. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say like he not feminine, because that doesn't equal being gay.
Yeah.
But
he just maybe not as interested in all the men.
It's not even that. He just, when you hear him talk,
okay,
there's a femininity to it, although that does not equate to. But if he did say like, hey, I was gay, like if you didn't see the episode and he was like, oh, I'm gay, you can be like, I kind of can see that.
Okay.
Also, at the same time, if he said he wasn't, I'm like, oh, because he's always around gorgeous women. And that's not like one of those, I'm around gorgeous women as a cover. He's just always around gorgeous women. They love him. He loves them all the same. And so if he were to say, yeah, I'm not gay, you'd be like, oh, okay, well, whatever. But he talked about his, and he said his attitude growing up was that I'm going to cut you off before you cut me off. I'm me. I'm always be me. You ain't got to like it. So when he came out to his family, you know, obviously they thought, when he came out, they thought like he was going to come out the closet and be dressing and, you know, have dresses on and makeup this. And he's like, no, I'm me. I'm just gay. Like,
right.
That's it. And so that was his story. So we haven't had those stories of coming out as gay and all of a sudden, like, you know, the family disowns them. We haven't had that yet. I don't know if we will, but we haven't had that yet. But no, nobody's came out on camera and said, so
again, for maybe the people that didn't see last episode, how long have you been doing Can I Be Vulnerable, and what is it?
Hi, everybody. I'm back. This is BJ Williams. We skipped that whole part for those who are new.
Sorry, we didn't even give you an intro.
I got it. We're going to do this right now. I started a docu-series for Black men called Can I Be Vulnerable? And it's literally just that. It's Black men on camera being vulnerable. Pretty simple stuff. What was your question again?
How long have you been doing it?
Oh, it'll be a year in August. So count the months.
Okay.
We haven't been doing this a year yet. So in August, it'll be a year. And
where do you want to take it? Do you just want to keep on docuseries, keep going forever, as long as you can?
As long as people want to share their stories. And honestly, no. Because I don't want to have to make this a doc. I don't want to have men on camera for it to be normal. I want it to be normalized. I want it to be.
Okay, so that's the initiative.
Yeah, like the goal is to normalize it so much that it is not shamed upon when a Black man says, I am feeling emotional for whatever reason, and he is not, you know, doors don't slam on him, or you know, man up happens to him, or, you know, pray it away happens to him, or, you know, you get seen as less than, or like, stop acting like a bitch type of thing. I want it to be like, as women are able to be emotional and cry, I want the same normal for men, because it's not a gender thing. It's a human thing. Like, something's wrong with me right now. So no, I don't want this to continue on. I want this to be normal. We're going to break the stigma, and I want, you know, Black men to feel like I'm not alright, and I'm gonna talk about it. And you niggas is gonna hear this shit.
Did you see Common's Breakfast Club interview?
Listen, I got tagged so many times.
It was so good, though.
It was great. This is the thing. Like, ever since I've started this, whenever anybody, Black man, gets on camera and speaks about mental health and therapy, they tag me. I get tagged a lot in mental stuff, like all the time. So like when Charlamagne the God did his, Van Lathan did his, Common just recently, I get tagged in it all the time. And they're like, you should get Common. Okay, I'll call him up right now and tell him, no, Common, I don't have his number. I could DM him, I guess, or I'll tweet him and hopefully he might read it. I don't know.
But I thought that was so brave of him to like come out and say like, oh, like I've been sexually abused by a man like in my childhood, and like now I'm here, I'm dealing with it, or he's been dealing with it, like going to therapy and whatnot. Like that's huge, because like, especially in the Black community, I feel like other people would just make fun of you.
To me, it was such a big deal because he said like that he had repressed it so heavily that he didn't even remember it until now in his adult life. He's working as an actor and the subject is being brought up and he's having to like dig, emotionally to find something. And he's like, oh shit,
this did happen.
This happened to me.
Yeah, it's amazing how it comes up.
I think that's so crazy. Like that's how deep we bury things. And could you imagine how it makes you feel as a child to be hiding this or have that big of a thing that you're trying to
that's
deal with?
Yeah.
You know how brave you gotta be to get on camera
and say shit like that.
That is
and as a rapper,
it's one thing to say it in an enclosed room with an individual who's like, okay, these, is abided to like keep your confidentiality and whatnot, but like to say it like to the world
and write a book.
Yeah, man.
Hell no, I could never.
I think that's one of the cool things about CIBV is that these men are that strong within themselves and feel so strongly about being vulnerable and how helpful it is that they allowed me to film them and then put it out to the world.
Right.
That's an incredibly strong thing to do. So again, I do not want to continue doing these. I want people to feel empowered. Like it's a lot of strength in admitting you're weak. You know what I mean? It's very easy to bury that like a comment. It's an easiest, it's easier to do because we want to protect ourselves.
I have a question. Maybe
What's
you
up?
can't answer it, but just on this subject, it made me think about it. Do you think in the Black community, like the be strong kind of thing, so much with boys and so much be tough, don't cry, all of that, maybe a little bit comes from like, because most of us are just raised by our mom. Like I know my little brother was in a house full of women and all of us were like, even if he fell and he cried, we're like, stop, don't do that, don't cry, you're a boy, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we're not men, we don't know.
You don't know about it.
If he's okay, like if he was at war and he got shot, is he supposed to just get up and walk it off? Because we said
that's exactly how we treat him. So what is your question with
like
that,
is it because do you think maybe mothers that are raising sons alone are afraid to maybe effeminize or give their son too much womanly something?
I don't know.
That they're like toughen up because the world is going to treat you.
I don't necessarily know if that is their reasoning because they're not a man, but I did another podcast with some fellas from the town. Shout out to Views from the 7. We did an episode with my platform, and it ended up being really deep. And one of the guys talked about his mom, like not even wanting to hear anything he had to say, and the effect that it had, and that affected his marriage and all that. But yes, mothers do add to that stigma and that thing of like man up. But also, I'm also going to say that it's breaking generational. I'm gonna call it a curse. Like you can't teach what you don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't know how to raise a man into a man and be well-rounded. You know what I'm saying? All we know is that men aren't supposed to do this. Men aren't supposed to do that. And it's extremely detrimental, but nobody's really recognizing.
Yeah.
I don't know who made it.
I think about us. Like, we were really hard on him all the time.
Extremely hard.
Like, for showing any type of emotion.
And that is extreme. And then you think about it, and then you think about the men when they grow up and they get in relationships, and you're like, well, you don't show emotions. And the time you do, it's a blow-up.
Yeah, it's just you
but
only
not
show anger.
Realizing you've been telling me when I was crying to stop.
Mm-hmm. Oh, women, we never know what we want.
Men don't either because we put the same thing on. Hey, man up. Man up is such a detrimental thing to say.
Because it's not saying anything.
It's not saying anything. Yeah. And what does man up mean? If you tell me to man up, what does that mean? How? What do you want me to do?
In this specific situation. Like, you use man up for a lot of stuff.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Something happened to me and you're like, man up. And do what? Like, what am I supposed to do with that?
Build a house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
fix a car.
And then you got these men that grow up and all of a sudden, like, the only way they know how to react to things is just with, like, anger and aggression, right? So you're like, why are you so angry and aggressive? Well, I'd never learned the other emotions and how to handle those. And so, yes, women do add to it. Moms add to it a lot. Single moms do, because you just teach what you know for the most part. It's very hard to step outside of yourself and be like, all right, that's not how I want to raise my sons.
Do you feel like other races of men are like more in tune with their feelings?
Not at all. Not at all.
This is
no.
Okay.
I don't think this is I know my platform is specifically for black men, but to say that, Chinese men, not at all. I just say that, Cuban men, they same thing. It's just a gender. It's a human thing. I'm just specifically doing black men because that's me.
Right.
I'm a black man. That's my community. But it's for the themes are for everybody. Women can look at these men, talk about their stories, and find similarities in that. You know what I mean? White can look at this and say, hey, my dad left me too. So you're just looking at a black man say it, but yeah, your dad left, so you can relate to that. So it's for everybody to enjoy and educate themselves and see some openness, but the interviews themselves would just be black men.
Got it.
Yeah.
What has been like the most touching or like your most memorable interview so far?
I can't say. My sons.
Okay.
Yeah, my son did one. I will never release that. That is for Dad.
Oh, that's sweet.
So when I did mine, I made my son watch me do it. So not only did I want to do mine for me, which is why I did it, I didn't plan on making this the docuseries that it is, but I knew that having my son watch his father open up about things, I don't know what was going to happen. I just wanted him to see it. And so he can at least have some kind of experience with a grown man, possibly crying on camera, which I did. Got cut out though.
Or just showing any type of emotion.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of boys have that story. Like, I never see my dad cry. I never see my dad sick.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah.
He's seen me cry. When my brother committed suicide, he saw me cry then. And I saw him cry. Man, no, that was a bad fuck, that week was terrible. But my son watched it, and then after I did mine, my boy BT that filmed it, he was like, all right, Dad, you got to go. I want to talk to your son. And so they did an interview, and maybe like a week later after I did mine, he sent it to me. And I must have cried in the bed for like 10 minutes, man. I bawled. It was because I'm looking at my son. It's my son. It's my baby, right? So I'm looking at him and seeing his reaction to what I'm saying, and then hearing the things of moving forward for him. It was touching, empowering, and heartbreaking at the same time. Because for a lot of his life, he didn't, I never told him he couldn't cry or anything like that. I was never detrimental, like man up like that. I'd say it in jest, like in jokes. But, he hasn't necessarily gone through as many tragedies as I have. He hasn't lost as many people as I have at his age. And so he hasn't necessarily gone through a lot of loss like I have. But to see him, make his video, man, I was like, man, I cried. He just threw it to me on like a random date. So I was like, you're an asshole for that, dog. So my sons would probably be the most touching one, and nobody will ever see it. I don't think he has it.
You going to send it to him when he's older?
Yeah, he can have it. And then if he ever wants to release that, he can. But for now, Daddy's holding that right close to his heart.
I have a question.
What's up?
I'm not sure if this is like too personal or not, but you said your brother committed suicide. I'm so sorry.
You want to hear that story? Or?
No, I mean, I guess I wanted to know, like, as far as like people out there like contemplating it, like, were there like any like signs like telling that?
It sure was, and I didn't pay attention to any of them until after the fact. In 2004, my brother had a stroke at work one day, and
how old was he?
At the time, he was 22.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, 22, 23. He had a stroke one day at work. If you know anything about a stroke, like it can change you. And it did. It changed him. My brother used to be really outgoing, extremely goofy, talked a bunch of shit, had jokes for everybody, loved to be around people. And then after the stroke, he became he became a hermit. All he wanted to do was go to work He developed OCD, irritable. You know, him and moms used to get into it, and they never really, you know, he was never that person. And all he wanted to do was work, pay bills, and clean. And when I say clean, he washed towels every single day. And I'm not exaggerating. He had black towels. They had like a pink hue to them. I have my own room at his house. Whenever I would come into town, I stay with my brother, and I have my own room. It'd be like 3 a.m. He'll come in and start vacuuming. He dust every day. The house was immaculately clean. We've always been very clean, but like he was obsessive with it. You couldn't move something out the way he'd move it. You know, those are small. You know, those signs of something ain't right up here, right? Fast forward, he found out his fiance was having an affair with a coworker, and then that was it. And that sent him over the edge, and he started talking about just the way he was talking about things. I just knew something was wrong. And my brother's also extremely intelligent and like really, really smart. So, you know, he just had a plan. He made a plan to see everybody he wanted to see before he left. And that's exactly what he did. So my dad told me, like, you know, your brother like set you up. And I was like, this bastard.
Did it seem like he was like, did he show signs of depression or like anxiety?
Not anxiety, but depression.
Okay.
They say that people, because I've known people close to me that have committed suicide, and in retrospect, like you, after people point it out, like if I watch YouTubes or whatever, and they're like, yeah, they talk in absolutes. They talk about finality. They talk like, oh, well, yeah, I'm going to do this, and like that'll be it. And they start giving things away and all of that stuff, and you don't realize it. And after the fact, it hits you like, oh, shit, she's been having this on her mind for like a month or two, doing this little small stuff.
Yeah. And see, for me, when I finally realized it, it was the middle of the week before he actually did it. And he sent me a text. It had to be like 4 a.m. So when I got up and read it, I just knew something was wrong. Knew it. I knew something was up. Like, all right, something ain't right. I got to go. And it was funny because my girl at the time, she thought I just wanted to go to Vegas for Memorial Weekend and just go party. I'm like, nah. Like, she low-key argued with me. She's like, you just want to go party? I'm like, nah, yo. Yeah. Something is wrong. So I left. And so I'm like, let me go spend some time with this dude, see what's going on. And we had a good time, man. He did have a blow up. He had one blow up. An incident that happened at his fiance's house or his fiance's parents' house, and there's something that happened with somebody else that was there anyway. So we had a blow up about that, but I'm like, man, something is not right here. But I had to come back here. We do a barbecue every Memorial Monday, and so I had that going on. But so I left, and that night after the barbecue, I was here, and I got the phone call from her that he wanted her to see him hang. Aww. That was his thing.
Because you did something to me.
You did something to me, so you need to see this. And so when I got the call, she had taken him down and he left. So I guess she must have like walked in as soon as he attempted to hang himself, and then he left, and that's when I got the call. Oh no, excuse me, that's when I called her. And she was panicking, obviously, and so I called him up, and we were on the phone about 2 hours between him, the police, her, my parents, siblings, a couple of cousins, because the word got out, right? So now everybody called me and said, solve this problem. And so I was on the phone with everybody, mainly him, though, for about 2 hours. The cops wanted me to get him to give me his location. I'm like, man, don't y'all got technology for that?
Yeah, like GPS.
You can't Batman that thing, and you can't Iron Man that thing and find out where he at.
Let somebody rob a bank, though.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, you can't triangulate his shit and find out where he's at. And so, that was it, man. About 2 hours, and he was like, BJ, I love you, and that was the last. That was it. My dad called and said he's gone, and that was just that. Everything else after that was like a haze.
So it's like he had made his mind up, and there wasn't really.
When I say my brother's extremely smart, extremely stubborn, that's what he wanted to do, and that's what the hell he was going to do. He just made sure he saw the people he wanted to see before he actually, committed suicide, and he did too. And I feel like an asshole because then I started blaming myself. Right, this is what got me into therapy. This is like, BJ, you're fucked up. Something is wrong. I felt like a failure.
You put the blame on yourself.
That's exactly what I did.
Because you feel like you could have done something to stop
I felt like because you guys called me to talk. For one, my brother doesn't listen to it. He's my older brother too.
Yeah,
I'm baby brother.
So you feel like they gave you the job?
They gave me the job, but he does listen to me. Like we've always been. And when him and mom used to get into it, they call me like, "Yo, B, your brother's tripping," and I'd be peacemaker, and we'd sit down and chop it up or whatever. And this time is the time when I failed. But in this failure was a life that was lost. It ain't like I failed and these niggas just ain't talking. Mm-hmm. I failed and you will never be able to speak to this man again. Mm-hmm. And so I took that. I just took that as I failed. And then my dad was like, you know, your brother just really wanted to spend time with you before he left. And it made me feel even worse. Because now I'm thinking like if I didn't go, he wouldn't do it. Because he wouldn't leave without seeing me.
Oh, so you feel like maybe...
My brother wouldn't leave without seeing me.
You could have prevented it.
I could. If I didn't go...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe some time would have gone by. Maybe we'd have just spoke on the phone or something and we'd be here. And he, some intervention would have happened. Mm-hmm. And so, he knew I'd jump up and go. He knew I'd jump right up and go see him. So, bastard set me up. He set me up. But that's what set me over the edge. I would come home and just drink a bottle of Henny and just pass out on the couch, get up, go to work. I was self-medicating with alcohol. I was in couples therapy. We talked about this the last time. I was in couples therapy, and
yeah, you have some whole other shit going on, so you're not even fully present in whatever.
I mean, it affected her too because she was, her and my brother were really tight. You know what I mean? Like that was her brother too. When we were together for years, and so he spoke to her too on the phone. You know what I'm saying during this time. So she was affected by it, and I know to this day, like it hurts her. You know what I mean? We speak every blue moon. She's doing well. But yeah, like there's no way in hell I could ever be with a woman and I'm not healed. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You can do it. You can be together for as long as you want, but to have a healthy relationship which is something we all should strive for. I knew that I had to get out of this and go get some help from me before I could help us be together. And it just ended up. We just never got back together. It was just something I realized that wasn't going to happen. And that was that. But yeah, that was what set me over the edge, though. And I talk about a few things in my video, like, my biological mother died when I was 16. She had a stroke. Wow. This one day she had a stroke, man, and that was it. And I never saw her.
That's a lot to carry.
Yeah, that's just two people. I've had a lot of death in my life.
And being young.
Yeah.
Like, I lived with my grandparents, and I remember my grandfather passed away, and it was like my dad passed away. And it was like, just similar to you, I'm waiting outside because my grandpa's my everything, right. And he's supposed to pick me up from school, and he's late. He's never late. Military man, Vietnam. And I'm like, what's going on? And my mom shows up. And I'm like, what are you doing here?
What are you doing here, lady? What are you doing here?
So I can understand when you grow up and you kind of deal with death and stuff like that. It even makes you a little bit of a weird kid because you're a little bit less happy-go-lucky than everybody else. You're a little more serious.
Well, for me, I always had sports. So that was my outlet for a lot of, moms died. And I actually came out here and I spent some time out here in L.A. Because my mother was raised out here. So I stayed with her family, her side of the family. We, kicked it or whatever. Because they lost a family member as well. And then, I went back home because football was getting ready to start, but I damn near quit. And one day my coach just said, you need to get up and get with your team. You need to be with your people.
Right.
And he was right. I did. And I was able to take everything that I was feeling and I put everything I had into school and sports. And it worked. Shit, I got school paid for.
Football?
Yeah, football. I ran track and football in college.
That must be a great outlet. Just like hitting the shit out of somebody.
What?
It's temporary.
You get riled up.
It's temporary.
But then probably when you're by yourself.
Because when you go home, you still have not done your emotional or mental work. Mm-hmm. And football's a detrimental sport to your body and your brain, because you're just hitting bodies all the time.
Yeah. So how do you do like emotional work, like outside of going to a therapist? Is it like journaling, like
try to recognize your patterns?
Yeah, like
can I be vulnerable? Is what I do.
Oh, okay.
That's my.
So as part of
I got my coping. I'm sorry. I have my coping mechanism. I got my breathing techniques. I know. I can identify when I'm shutting down. I can identify when I'm shutting off, or when I'm feeling, anxiety. I can feel when like the loneliness kicks in. Mm-hmm. I recognize it way earlier, and I am a lot of willpower. If that, if I can say that. So I'm like, all right, BJ, you already know what you're feeling right now. It's identified. Get yourself out of this. And for me, I'm able to. It's easier for me to do that, especially when I identify it easier. You know what I mean? Or I'll just call some folks up, like, hey man, you know what I mean? Or to call the homegirls up or something. Like, yo, I feel like shit today, so I'm coming through.
Right.
We gonna do something. I just need to be around, or you know what I mean. So
instead of just like locking yourself in your house.
Instead of just locking myself in the house.
Yep. How do you feel about antidepressants?
I'm not a fan. I understand that some people do need them, but for me personally, I don't. I hate pills. I don't like medicines. I never have. But if there are some people that need them, so take them.
There's ways to like improve like your mood or your headspace without like taking a pill. That's what I believe.
Yes,
like just even me going to the gym, I feel like I wake up happier, like just from physical activity and whatnot.
It's
Why
the
do I
small
need
things
a pill?
that you can do, right?
Yeah,
it's like eating right. It's funny. As much as we talk about health now, it's small things like eating right and certain foods that boost your mood. You know what I mean? Working out, finding out what you do. Those small things every day help build, your resistance to depression and those kind of things. So it's the small things you do every day that helps you get out of those things. And when something does happen, you get, it just hits you right away. You can either, call your therapist or, do your drawing or stuff like that. But I'm always a huge fan of like doing the small things every day. If I know I have friends now that write a word of affirmation every day, write what they're thankful for every day. As a matter of fact, Justin Shaw, he says like every day I write 5 things that I'm thankful for or that I'm going to be thankful for.
Gratitude helps,
and it helps him. It helps him a ton. I got a few friends that wake up every day and read something, words of affirmation. It's the small things you do that can help. Preventative care is way better than whatever the word is for after you get sick. Post care, I guess. I don't know. But yeah.
I feel like that's probably one of the biggest things I struggle with, the gratitude part, because I work a lot and like I moved out when I was 16. So it's like, who am I grateful to? Myself?
You, yes.
Like, this is so irritating. Here I am again, like a cartoon, like getting up, going to work. It's like I rushed through and now I'm right here. So
I think it's the little things though. Like the things that you take for granted, at least like with myself and my anxiety, like I'm just like, okay, like, you know what, maybe you don't have as much money as you want to, but you have food, you paid your rent, like you woke up today, shit, you have a leg to walk down the street. It gets hard though, like to like even recognize that those little things are important, but it's like things in life you get for free.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask, do you guys celebrate your wins?
You know what? I don't. I was just I had therapy this morning. She's like, you beat yourself up a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And she's like, you don't give yourself enough credit.
Human beings are so good at tearing ourselves down. Who do you talk to the most?
I guess my husband now.
No, you talk to yourself the most.
Okay, that's true.
You talk to
like
yourself more than
that.
anybody on this planet. Who knows you better than you? Why do you tear yourself down so much? Celebrate your wins. I don't know what it is. Celebrate it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the second person to be a husband, obviously.
Yeah.
But you talk to yourself more than anybody.
I'm in my head all the time.
All the time. You've spent more time with yourself than anybody, and we are so good at tearing ourselves down. Like, yo, you know what? And I only ask because that was me. For me, for me, everything was just like, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yes, I was going to say that, especially as a black kid. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get straight in.
Yeah, like that's just the house I was raised in. Now, my parents never dismissed anything I've ever done. I always got the great job, B, words of affirmation. My parents were always hyped for me. They were my biggest cheerleader. My father was extremely quiet, though, and I've never seen him. I'm lying. I've seen him maybe twice, but because he's always spectating, watching. Always in it. I never pay attention to what he's doing out there. So when I'm at my track meets or whatever schoolwork, he's probably celebrating, loud, hollering and all that. I just never seen it, right?
Right.
So
and then when y'all are back together,
when we're together, we'll rap about it, but it's like, great job, B. Now what? What's next? And that's just the house I was raised in. Now, when I would meet his friends, he would say, your dad talks about you, his kids all the time. He talks about you all the time. I'm like, really?
I think that's every child's job.
He does? I mean, he wears like he has all my championship stuff. Like I give him everything. Like if I get like a ring or something because I've won something, my parents get it. My stepmom gets it. Like here, y'all can have, because I don't really care for it. My Letterman jacket, he wears it all well, not anymore, obviously. But the few times that I've actually seen him be proud, like I saw it for myself, was I graduated high school. he was hyped that, not that I was not going to graduate, but he was hyped that, I'm going to college. I got a scholarship. He ain't got to pay.
Right. Great job.
We went to the cemetery to see moms, and, he went and spoke to her, and he just started crying. I was like, okay. Another time was when I graduated college. It was senior night. So the parents get to walk you on the field, and it was raining too, but I could see he was crying then. And then I came home one day, randomly, just popped up on him, and he had all my state championship rings on.
Aww.
Just at the computer. And I was like, he's so goddamn soft. But he had my rings on, man.
Blinging out the keyboard.
Yeah, he was just playing his little computer game, had my rings on. I said, oh, man, look at the old dude. You know what I mean? Mom's always wears the gear. When my stepmother was like my savior. If anybody had a stepmom, they need to be like her. She is amazing. And she's the big talker, so I know she'd be proud. She'll be right now, be talking, be real proud. So I never had to worry about that from her. Mm-hmm. But to see her from my dad was like, super cool.
Did she have any kids? Did you guys have to blend your family?
Yeah,
or?
We had a blended family.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a blended family. We still are blended.
That's interesting, because I feel like sometimes when people grow up, they kind of split apart sometimes.
Nah. Especially since my brother died. Our brother died. Like, it's been...
So it bonded you all.
It's... Yes. Yes. There's been some cracks in some things, but that's only because everybody's hurt, Mm-hmm. But now that I'm the only boy left, it's like... The rest is girls, so, like, everything runs through me now. You know what I mean? Like, okay. They'll call me up for every damn thing.
Head honcho.
Yeah. Taking over the family.
If somebody
business.
says they're going to send their brother, you're like, hey.
You got to call the cousins up.
I'm only one man.
I'm the only one left. I'm the only one left. Don't do that. Yeah.
Well, I think we're almost out of time here.
Kind of, but the last thing I want to ask is that because of what happened with your brother, we didn't know that before, is that maybe not even just part of the motivation, but maybe the driving thing behind you wanting more black men to speak out, because you don't want somebody to be repressing their feelings and hiding how they feel. You just want everybody to be able to be as open as possible, like even if they don't have a brother like you.
My brother isn't the reason why. I'm the reason why.
Okay.
Because I know what I felt. And... I've contemplated suicide a few times. I'm pretty sure most human beings have thought about ending it at one point. And I know that we also suffer in silence, right? Mm-hmm. But I talk to so many people. I'm a teacher, babe. I'm a teacher, man. I hear things from kids all the time. And I've always heard things from kids. Like, I've teammates, we talk. And I'm like, well, why are we acting like we're the only ones individually who suffer? We're not. Man, listen, if I'm going to suffer, y'all are going to suffer with me. So come sit the hell down. Let's go and get this suffer table going. Because going through it alone is fucking trash, man. Like, we shouldn't have to. Why are we? And I may not have an answer for you. I'm not a therapist. I don't have the tools to give you. But I'm here. You're not alone. And that in itself is amazing to know that. Empathy. Mm-hmm. As opposed, there's sympathy and there's empathy. Sympathy is like, damn, that sucks, I'm sorry for you. Empathy is like, I'm down here with you, like, what's up? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so, I'm not saying that we need more empathy or anything, but, I'm empathetic now. It's grown tremendously. But if you got somebody that's going to sit down in the basement with you, you feel better. And you're more inclined to stand the hell up and walk out the basement with them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, my brother... is the reason why I got into therapy. I am the reason why I did Can I Be Vulnerable, and I am the reason why I continue to do so until I don't need to do it anymore. Until, I see some cats at the table, it's fellas night, but they breaking down whatever stigmas or whatever is going on in their life, and it's not coming from a place of like, ain't nobody hearing that shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where the hell's at or whatever. Nah, it's
medication.
Yeah, it's not that. It's like, no, I'm listening to you. What's good? Mm-hmm. And then those stories are getting shared. Getting shared, and then they go say what else.
Do it in fun, not to patch hurt.
Yeah, man. That's what I want to see happen. So that's my goal. One of them.
All right, plug whatever you want to plug.
Can I Be Vulnerable again? You can spell, right? Because I don't want to spell it for you. This Can I Be Vulnerable. You'll find everything there, and everything links to everything from there. So if you get on the Instagram, the YouTube is linked from there to there. Same thing with the Twitter, Facebook, and all that good stuff. So you should be able to find it easy.
Also, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.
Yes.
You can find our platforms on Instagram at Ashology and Tam Not Tammy.
Yes.
Also, BJ
_ Williams.
Yep. And once we're all done there, I'd also like to say if anybody out there really is contemplating suicide,
give them the
there
number.
is a number you can call, being 1-800-273-8255. But again, thank you guys for joining us today.
Even
thank
if you're
you.
not contemplating suicide, call them anyway.
Yeah.
You're feeling a certain way,
Talk
call
to
them.
somebody.
Or talk to your friends. I think a lot of us are even scared to talk to people we're close to about our real problems.
Honestly, listen, everybody suffers. Stop doing it alone.
Yeah.
I promise. You hear all these problems all the time and you feel like it's just you. It's not.
Don't let the flexing on Instagram make you feel
Listen,
alone.
it's trust me. Everybody's hurting, man. Don't do it alone. Don't do it in silence, man. I feel like a PSA.
Well,
That's
I mean,
what this is.
that's what you got to do sometimes. Just got to put it out
listen,
there.
I'm follow Teacher Babe, man. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get my numbers up. I'm trying to get some Fashion Nova men's codes, man. Go.
I'm telling you.
You feel me? Let's do that. Let's follow the page, man, please.
And send us any questions that you had about today's episode to ask@gmail.com.
Yes.
But that's about all the time we have for today, guys. Bye.
Peace.